Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. Hope your day has begun well. Mine certainly has. I was up early, did my morning walk, got my tea, dandelion tea this morning. I've been kind of slack on my tea on my videos. But I got dandelion tea this morning in my RBG cup. I do descent. Dandelion tea is good for purifying your system. It is actually a natural diuretic. So, for those of you that are into teas, I love a lot of different teas, herbal teas. Dandelion tea is a good tea to have, okay? Along with all the other 11 teas in my cupboard. Okay, so today we're going to talk about abandonment issues and their close connection with trauma bonding. Okay, abandonment issues are the issues that arise when you have been abandoned, when you have been dropped, when you have been disregarded, when you've been overlooked. So there could be a vast number of situations in life where you've been abandoned. Now, a lot of abandonment issues begin in childhood, okay? That's typically where their starting point is. Once you become an adult, there are some people that as adults have been abandoned, but typically when you really are struggling with abandonment issues, it stems from something that has happened in your childhood. You could have had a detached parent. You could have had a parent that just was not there for you. You could have had a family that was not there for you. And you could have felt like you had to always take care of yourself and kind of be on your own, maybe the black sheep of the family. Always kind of been on the outside of things, never really feeling like you fit in, never really included in things. It could be a number of reasons why there is abandonment. You could have felt like you were never defended, okay, as a child. So when you grow up in an environment like that, because, our environments that we grow up in really do shape us. They really do. I grew up in a very dysfunctional environment where there was abuse. Okay, so whenever I talk about abandonment, I speak from a place of where I have been healed, from an area where I have been healed, and just helping others walk through this abandonment process. Now, abandonment, the reason it can cause you to trauma bond, and trauma bonding is connecting by the avenue of the trauma, okay, by whatever the trauma created. So when you have abandonment issues, typically connected to that, not always the case, but typically, there are insecurities, there's codependency. Okay, there is, you don't really have healthy boundaries. You lack self love. Now, that's just four of them. There are many, but that's just four of them. So, if you just look at those four areas of that the abandonment can create, or those four elements that the abandonment can create, you can probably see why, as an adult, you are struggling in your interpersonal relationships. Because for a person that is codependent, when you get into a relationship, you drain the relationship of the life it has because you're so codependent upon it. You lean on it a bit too much. It's like a lifeline to you. And the reason you're codependent and to that connection is simply because in a previous connection, and it could have been earlier in life, or earlier in your adult life, or earlier in your childhood life, someone left you. You were left at some point. And so when we get in connections as adults, it's easy to be codependent on that one connection. You drain the life out of it. There are many ways that people try to buffer their codependency. They will be very surface individuals. They will not get deep into the relationship. They will just kind of be there, but not be there because they don't want to feel when you have been tremendously hurt. You don't want to feel again, because feeling again means that I could be abandoned again. And I don't want to feel that sense of abandonment. So that is the buffer a lot of people put up. They create this statue-like appearance and pass it off as I'm a strong person, when in actuality they're concrete. They don't allow anything in, and nothing is allowed to get out. When they sense that they are feeling, they typically will self-sabotage those relationships, and will self-sabotage and sabotage those relationships so that the relationship ends. Okay, they will deliberately do something that they know the person disapproves of so that the person can walk away. Okay, and so ultimately you end up getting the result that you don't want to get, that you had before, because you're not flowing from a healed place. Okay, so and another thing that can happen is when you're bonding at the area of trauma, you're in other words, you're thinking a person is giving you what the other people that abandoned you didn't give you, and you're afraid to leave them, but they may not be treating you well. They may cross your boundaries. They may be manipulating you. They may be using you for the gifts you have, or for the job you have, for the money you have, for the time you have, and because you want to be needed, you stick with it. They may even be using you for sex. Just someone to be able to every now and again to have sex with. So I'm going to have this disconnected type relationship. You're bonding at the area of the trauma, because you don't want the person to leave. And if you stop the sex, they're going to leave. If you stop giving them money, they're going to leave. If you stop showing up for their things, for whatever they have going on, they're going to leave. If you stop answering all of their calls and all of their texts, they're going to leave. Now, there's a sign that shows up when you're in a codependent relationship. It will mimic a real relationship. Okay? But one of the keys with a codependent relationship is the person that is typically the most codependent is manipulated by the individual that's getting whatever they want to get out of that individual. Okay? So the codependent person, which is the person that faced the abandoned issue, is the one that is the most manipulated. You are the most used. And that individual typically feels an obligation to that person. Okay? They typically don't like doing things outside of that person. They feel like they have to report back. And they may not even be in an actual relationship. It could just be a friend. Okay? It may not even be a relationship. It could just be a friend situation, where the codependent individual, which is the person that faced the abandonment issues, don't even feel comfortable doing something with someone else because they know it's going to upset the manipulator. Okay? Because you're not doing something with them. All right? You have to really look at all sides of the abandonment issue trauma bond connection. And when you really begin to unearth some of your if you take, and I say this quite a bit, you take your I just say the last 3 personal relationships, whether they be friends or romantic relationships, no matter what the relationship is, excuse me, and look at how you connected with that person. What were they providing for you? Was it a healthy connection? Were they providing something spiritual, something healing to you, or were they just giving you something you felt like had been taken away from you in earlier life? Were they, just feeling or feeling that void that you have? Were they just kind of the hole that you had, were they just dumping dirt in it? See, there's a difference between someone feeling a void and healing a void. Okay? Healthy relationships heal you. When you're in a healthy connection, they heal you. They do not exploit any childhood issues, whether it be abandonment, insecurities. They promote self-love of persons in healthy connections. They want to see the other love themselves first. They don't drain you of your love. They're very open. You're it's easy to be vulnerable in healthy connections because you know that the person isn't using you or isn't going to use it against you. All right? But that starts with self-love. Okay? It starts with self-love. So if you want to discuss this further and you like a book to book a session with me, you can. I have put the links in the description box. I offer 2 sessions, the Healversation session, which is classic for breaking down these emotional blockages and giving you some tools if you need some self-love tools or just becoming a little bit more self-aware of what is hidden under the surface. That will be a great session for you. So if you'd like to book that session, you can hit the link in the description box. It actually may be the website link, and book the session, and I can reach out through email. Even if you don't reach out to me, I encourage you to reach out to someone, whether it be another mentor, coach, a mental health therapist, because when you are struggling in the area of abandonment and you have not addressed that issue, it will carry throughout your adulthood, and it will show up in every relationship that you have. You want to move into a healthier space, and it's just going to require you face some of those things from the past so that you can rewrite your story. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Toodles.